On my birthday, my family gave me an eviction notice. They never expected me to fight back. I stand in the center of my living room, taking in the soft glow of fairy lights strung across exposed brick walls I spent weeks restoring by hand. The banner I crafted from vintage wallpaper scraps catches the light. Happy birthday, Mira. Friends and family mill about, their laughter mingling with the clink of glasses and the warmth of celebration. 4 years of backbreaking renovation work transformed this space from a deteriorating shell into my dream home. Every detail, from the restored crown molding to the hand-stained hardwood floors, carries a piece of my soul. Even Nathan, my usually stoic brother, had whistled in appreciation when he first saw the finished product. A sharp knock at the door cuts through the festivities. An attendant in a crisp uniform stands rigidly in the doorway, holding an elegantly wrapped silver envelope. Miss Harding? His voice is clipped professional. This requires your immediate attention. My fingers tremble as I untie the delicate bow. The paper feels expensive, heavy with unspoken weight. As I unfold the document inside, the bold letterhead strikes like a physical blow. Notice to vacate. The room spins. 21 days. They're giving me 21 days to leave my home. I look up to find every eye in the room fixed on me. Matthew and Lillian, my parents, exchange glances loaded with something I can't or don't want toward. Nathan's face has gone pale, his champagne glass frozen halfway to his lips. The silence spreads like poison. What is this? My voice comes out strangled, barely recognizable. The beautiful cake on the counter, its candle still unlit, seems to mock me with its cheerful presence. Now, Mira, let's discuss this rationally. Sienna's voice cuts through the tension, smooth as silk and just as cold. My cousin steps forward, her designer heels clicking against the floors I spent weeks refinishing. The market is incredibly hot right now. It would be foolish not to capitalize on such an opportunity. Capitalize? The word tastes bitter. This is my home. I've put 4 years of my life into this place. The apartment remains in Matthew and Lillian's names, Sienna continues, as if explaining something simple to a child. The financial potential is simply too significant to ignore. Memories flash through my mind like a cruel slideshow. Sienna's knowing smiles at family gatherings. Nathan's awkward silences. My parents' evasive answers about finalizing the property transfer. All those little moments I dismissed, now forming a picture I can't unsee. You knew. I turned to my parents, my voice cracking. You've known this was coming. Lillian wrings her hands, unable to meet my eyes. Matthew clears his throat. It's just business, sweetheart. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. The renovation receipts in my office upstairs. The permits. The thousands of hours of work. The dreams I poured into every inch of this space. Nothing personal. My hands clench into fists, crumpling the notice. Tears burn behind my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of them. I retreat to my study, my sanctuary. Blueprints and renovation sketches cover the walls, testament to everything I've built. Everything they're trying to take away. The city lights twinkle beyond the window. Unchanged and uncaring. What am I going to do next? The question hangs in the air like smoke, choking but clarifying. Because deep down I already know the answer. This isn't just about an apartment anymore. This is about justice. About truth. About family bonds twisted into weapons. And I'm done being their target. My gaze shifts to the detailed timeline pinned above my discovery permit. Every renovation milestone meticulously documented. Sienna might think she's orchestrated the perfect betrayal, but she has no idea how thoroughly I document everything. Every email. Every conversation. Every suspicious glance. I run my fingers along the edge of my grandmother's silver locket, drawing strength from its familiar weight. Sienna's calculated treachery ends here. I'll expose every manipulation, every lie she's whispered in my parents' ears. She thinks I'll break quietly, disappear with dignity. She's about to learn how wrong she is. My hands shake as I spread the renovation documents across my desk, each one a piece of the life I've built here. The soft glow of my desk lamp illuminates permit applications, contractor agreements, and material receipts, for years of dreams crystallized in paper and ink. Something catches my eye. The signature on the latest building permit doesn't match the others. I grab my phone, pulling up a photo of the original document. Stomach lurches. The dates are wrong. The new permit is backdated 3 months, but I remember filing it just 6 weeks ago. No, no, no. I mutter, diving deeper into the stack. More inconsistencies emerge. Notary stamps with mismatched dates, permit applications with subtle alterations, contract drafts that shouldn't exist. Each discovery hits like a physical blow, forming a pattern I can't ignore. The wall of evidence before me tells a story of calculated deception. Sienna hasn't just been planning this eviction. She's been orchestrating it for months, manipulating documents and falsifying permits. My cousin's perfectly manicured fingerprints are all over this betrayal. A soft knock interrupts my investigation. Nathan stands in the doorway, his tall frame casting a long shadow. His face is drawn guilty. I've never seen my usually confident brother look so small. Can we talk? His voice cracks slightly. I gesture to the chair across from my desk, not trusting myself to speak. Nathan sits, his eyes fixed on his hands. I should have told you sooner, he begins, the words tumbling out in a rush. At Mom and Dad's anniversary party last month, I overheard something. My heart pounds as Nathan describes the scene. Sienna and Damien, CEO of Meridian Real Estate Group, tucked away in Dad's study. Their voices carried through the partially open door. Sienna's smooth confidence, Damien's calculated interest. She was laying out the whole plan. Nathan continues, running a hand through his disheveled hair, talking about market values, profit margins, quick sales. She made it sound so clinical, like she wasn't destroying someone's home, like she wasn't destroying your home. The betrayal cuts deeper with each word. And you said nothing. I convinced myself it wasn't real. Nathan whispers that Sienna was just talking, dreaming big like she always does. But then I saw her meeting with Mom and Dad, planting doubts, playing on their fears about the market crashing. I turned back to my evidence wall, seeing it with new clarity. A pattern emerges in the email threads, each one meticulously crafted to exploit our family's weaknesses. To Dad, Sienna emphasized market volatility and lost opportunities. To Mom, she spoke of securing the retirement, playing on her lifelong financial insecurities. The timestamps paint a devastating picture. 3 months of systematic manipulation. Look at this, I say, pulling up an email chain. She's been feeding Damien information about our family finances for weeks. Guest lists from family events, renovation budgets, even Mom and Dad's retirement plans. My voice shakes with anger. She's not just selling the apartment, she's selling us out. The scale of Sienna's betrayal becomes clear as I organize the evidence. My cousin, always the perfect one, the successful one, has been orchestrating the scheme with the precision of a surgeon. And Damien's name appears in email after email, his influence casting a long shadow over our family's future. His reputation in the real estate world makes him dangerous. His connection to Sienna makes him lethal. My phone buzzes. Elsie's name lights up the screen. She's been helping me compile evidence since the party, her background in corporate law proving invaluable. I found something, she says without preamble. Those permit alterations? They're tied to a series of property deals Damien's company pushed through last year. Same pattern, same tactics. Send everything, I tell her, already clearing space on my desk. We need. A text from an unknown number cuts me off. The message makes my blood run cold. Back off now or you'll regret it. Something should stay buried. Asterisk. I show Nathan the text. His face pales. Mira. Maybe. Number. I cut him off. Steel in my voice. I'm done backing off. I'm done being manipulated. I reach for the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet, pulling out a folder I'd almost forgotten about. My hand steady as I open it, revealing one final piece of evidence zone that could bring Sienna's whole scheme crashing down. Nathan leans forward. What is that? I look up at my brother, a grim smile playing at my lips. That depends on how badly Sienna wants to play this game. The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Regency Hotel cast dancing shadows across polished marble as I navigate through clusters of silk dresses and tailored suits. Tonight's charity gala should be about supporting local historic preservation. Instead, my phone buzzes incessantly with notifications as Sienna's carefully crafted lies spread like wildfire across social media. I slip away from the crowd, my heels clicking against the floor as I make my way to the private lounge. The leather chair creaks as I sink into it, pulling out my laptop. My hands tremble slightly as I log into my email, But my resolve hardens as I dig deeper into Sienna's corporate account archives. Got you, I whisper, opening a series of emails that make my blood run cold. The timestamps don't match the metadata. The permit numbers are sequential and they should be random. Every falsified document is like another knife in my back, but it's also ammunition. A notification pops up, another live stream from Sienna. Her voice flows smooth as honey through my earbuds. Of course, we're deeply concerned about the structural integrity of the renovations. The safety of our community must come first. My fingers curl into fists. The renovation permits are spotless. I spent months ensuring every detail was perfect, but there it is on the screen. Doctored inspection reports casting shadows on my work, carefully leaked to maximize damage. The recording I discover next nearly stops my heart. Sienna's voice crisp and clear. The property values in that neighborhood are about to skyrocket, Damien. Once we force a quick sale, the returns will be astronomical. A male voice, Damien chuckles in response. Your cousin won't know what hit her. I sit back, my mind racing. The gala continues beyond the lounge doors. A symphony of clinking glasses and polite laughter. Sienna is out there right now, probably working the room with that practiced smile. Every handshake, every air kiss is another thread in her web of manipulation. The next evening, the Bellevue Manor dining room breathes old money. Crystal stemware catches the light. White tablecloths gleam immaculate. The perfect stage for what comes next. I wait until the main course arrives, then stand, my chair scraping against hardwood. I have something to share. My voice carries across the table. Sienna's fork pauses halfway to her lips. I have copies of every email you've sent regarding my property. My hands shake, but my voice stays steady, including the ones where you discuss falsifying inspection reports with Damien. The silence is absolute. Sienna's practiced smile doesn't waver, but her knuckles whiten around her fork. Mira, darling, you're making a scene. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. Like you discuss my eviction privately? I pull out my phone, clicking play. Sienna's voice fills the room. The property values in that neighborhood are about to skyrocket. The color drains from her face. That's enough. Sienna's voice cracks like a whip. You're clearly unstable. Number. The word comes from behind me. I turn to see Nathan standing. His dinner napkin crumpled in his fist. She's not unstable. I heard you, Sienna. That day in your office with Damien, I heard everything. Elsie rises next, her eyes blazing. I have copies of the original permits, every inspection report. Would you like me to show everyone here the difference between Myra's actual renovation documentation and your creative edits? Something shifts in the room, a current of whispers, the rustle of silk as people lean forward. I feel it in my bones. The moment when truth begins to outweigh lies. Sienna's mask slips for just a second, revealing the calculation beneath. I retreat to my study later that night, surrounded by the evidence of years of work. Blue permits line the walls, each one a testament to dreams built brick by brick. The city sparkles beyond my window, my city, my home, my truth. I reach for my grandmother's locket. Its silver warm against my palm. The weight of it grounds me as I begin methodically organizing the evidence. Each document goes into a color-coded folder. Each digital file uploaded to secure cloud storage. My attorney Jonathan's business card sits on my desk. His reputation for handling fraud cases is exactly what I need. My phone buzzes, a message from Samantha Clark, the journalist who's been following the local real estate market for years. Another from Gregory Holt, the community board president. Allies gathering, drawn to the scent of corruption exposed. The last piece falls into place when Uncle Robert calls. His voice is heavy with guilt. Sienna's been working on this for months, Mira. We should have seen it sooner, should have said something. I hang up and stare at the final file on my desktop. The recording I haven't shared yet. The one that captures Sienna and Damien in an unguarded moment, spelling out their entire scheme. My secret weapon waiting for the perfect moment. Tomorrow is the town hall meeting. Tomorrow everything changes. The question isn't whether I'm ready. The question is, are they? The town hall buzzes with tension. Every seat is filled. Residents, investors, reporters clutching notepads. Camera phones point toward the podium like accusing fingers. The utilitarian space is a far cry from Sienna's carefully curated galas, but power feels different here. Raw real. My laptop connects to the projector with a soft click. The screen behind me illuminates, blank and waiting. In my pocket, the flash drive feels heavy with truth. Thank you all for coming. My voice carries across the room, steady despite the pounding of my heart. I'm here to share some information about the proposed development deal for Highland Avenue. Sienna shifts in her seat in the third row. Her designer suits stark against the metal folding chairs. Damien sits beside her, his usual smooth confidence showing hairline cracks. I pull up the first document. These are the original renovation permits. My fingers move to open the video file, the recording that will shatter their carefully constructed lies. The screen flickers, goes black. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Someone coughs. I feel sweat trickle down my spine as I click, frantically trying to restore the connection. Technical difficulties? Sienna's voice drips with fake sympathy. Perhaps we should move on to a number. I straighten my shoulders, meeting her gaze directly. We're going to see this through, every last second of it. The truth doesn't need perfect timing. Just needs to be heard. The screen flickers back to life. The Rosewood Banquet Hall glitters with false promises. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow prisms across the champagne flutes and designer dresses of Silicon Valley's elite. My heels sink into thick carpet as I make my way through the crowd, each step measured, deliberate. This engagement party, Sienna and Damien's crowning achievement, is about to become their undoing. I catch my reflection in a gilded mirror, structured black blazer, hair swept into an elegant chignon, grandmother's silver locket gleaming at my throat. My hands don't shake as I pull out my phone and send the signal to Elsie. 3 quick taps. Showtime. The projector screen descends silently behind the stage where Sienna stands delivering her speech, her voice dripping with practiced charm. Damien and I are so blessed to have such wonderful family and friends. Her words fade as the first document appears on screen. My original renovation permits, dated and notarized, followed by her forged versions. The differences are stark, damning. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Sienna's voice falters as she spots the projection. Her champagne glass trembles, catching the light like a crystallized warning. I think I say, my voice carrying across the hush. We should discuss the real estate deal you've been orchestrating. I step onto the stage, each click of my heels against hardwood a punctuation mark. Specifically, how you forged documents to steal my home. Sienna's perfectly lined lips part in shock. Mira, this is hardly the time. Actually, it's exactly the time. I pull out my phone again and the recording fills the banquet hall. Sienna's voice, clear and cold, discussing the fraudulent sale with Damien. Their words echo off marble floors and crystal stems. Once we get rid of her, the property's ours. Investors shift uncomfortably in their seats. I spot Mrs. Chan, one of our biggest backers, leaning forward with narrowed eyes. 2 real estate developers exchange worried glances. The truth spreads like wine across white carpet. It's impossible to ignore, impossible to hide. This is absurd. Sienna sputters, her composure cracking. Mira's clearly unstable. She's always been jealous of my success, my relationship with Damien. The documents speak for themselves. I cut in, gesturing to the screen, where proof of her deception continues to scroll. Every forged permit, every manipulated contract, every secret meeting hall, meticulously documented. These are obviously fabricated. Sienna snaps, but her voice has lost its silk. She turns to the crowd, desperation bleeding through her perfect makeup. You all know me. I would never. I can verify these documents. Nathan's voice rings out as he stands, tablet in hand. My brother's face is pale but determined. I have the original email threads right here. Elsie steps forward next, her own evidence ready. I have the notary's sworn statement confirming these signatures were forged. The room erupts in whispers. Damien, I notice, has gone very still, his knuckles white around his champagne flute. The grand romance of the evening sours as reality sets in. Their perfect facade is crumbling, one exposed lie at a time. Sienna makes one last attempt to salvage her reputation. This is nothing but a vindictive display from a failed designer who has proof of everything. I finish for her. I pull out a final folder, slim, elegant, devastating, including evidence of something much bigger than a simple property grab. The folder's contents spill across the projection screen. Documents linking Sienna and Damien to a wider web of real estate fraud, each connection more damning than the last. The silence that follows is absolute. Even the crystal chandelier seemed to hold their breath. The question isn't just about one stolen home anymore, is it? I ask, my voice carrying to every corner of the suddenly airless room. It's about how deep this deception really goes and who else might be involved. I lock eyes with the assembled investors, the influential family members, the real estate moguls who came to celebrate love but found fraud instead. Their faces reflect varying degrees of shock, anger, and dawning realization. Some already have their phones out, no doubt calling their lawyers. In the end, it's Mrs. Chun who breaks the silence. I believe she says, rising from her seat with elegant dignity, we all need to reevaluate our business relationships. Her words fall like a judge's gavel in the stunned quiet. I step back from the microphone, my part done. The evidence speaks for itself now, spreading through the crowd like wildfire. As chaos erupts around me, Damien arguing with his lawyer in harsh whispers, investors demanding explanations, family members choosing sides, I catch my reflection again in that gilded mirror. The woman staring back at me isn't broken anymore. She's brilliant, fierce, unstoppable, but there's more to come. As I scan the documents one final time, names jump out at McCorporations, shell companies, a web of connections far beyond Sienna and Damien. This isn't just about my apartment. It's about an entire network of property fraud, stretching across the city like a spider's web. Damien's face has lost all color as he stares at the screen, no doubt recognizing the implications. His perfect posture crumbles as he loosens his tie, eyes darting between the exits. He knows as well as I do this exposure threatens not just his engagement, but the entire carefully constructed empire he and his corporate partners have built. I step back to the microphone one last time. When faced with betrayal, I say, my voice clear and steady, do we stay silent to keep the peace, or do we expose the truth no matter the cost? The question hangs in the air like crystal chimes, a challenge to everyone present. In the tense silence that follows, I catch fragments of whispered conversations. How deep does this go? Who else is involved? What other properties? And I'm just beginning. I grip the edges of the podium at the Langston Convention Center, my knuckles white against the polished wood. The crowd before me ripples with tension, faces I've known my whole life, now twisted with uncertainty. Sienna stands at the back, her designer heels planted firmly on marble floors, megaphone raised like a weapon. My legal team from Harrison and Yale will be filing immediate action, she announces, her voice amplified and distorted. Anyone supporting Myra's fraudulent claims will face severe consequences. My tablet chimes with notifications, dozens of them. On the screen, doctored images flood social media, receipts with altered dates, permits with fabricated signatures. My renovation project, my 4 years of work, painted as a web of deception. Sienna's PR team works fast, flooding every platform with their carefully crafted lies. The evidence clearly shows systematic fraud. Sienna continues, her voice echoing through the megaphone. Years of financial mismanagement and permit violations. She gestures to the screen behind her, where manipulated video clips play on loop, moments from renovation updates, twisted and edited to support her narrative. Independent media representatives huddle over laptops, their faces illuminated by screens as they fact-check in real time. The first whispers of doubt ripple through the crowd. I catch fragments of conversation, the timestamps don't match these signatures, but I work faster. Speaking of fraud, I say into the microphone, my voice steady despite the thunder of my heart, let's talk about evidence. I tap my tablet and the convention center's massive display screen flickers to life. The first email appears, Sienna's message to Damien, timestamp clear as crystal. Once we force the sale, the profit margins will be astronomical. Myra's too naive to fight back. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Sienna's megaphone wavers. With methodical precision, I work through my presentation. Each piece of evidence lands like a physical blow. Here's the original permit application. And here another swipe is Sienna's forged version. Note the identical signature, pixel for pixel. Forgery software leaves traces, cousin. The crowd shifts closer to the screen. A journalist in the front row types furiously on her laptop. I catch Nathan's eye and the audience nods, almost imperceptibly. Behind him, influential investors lean forward, their expressions hardening as the truth unfolds. This is absurd, Sienna snaps, but her voice cracks. Those documents are clearly clearly time-stamped and notarized. I pull my grandmother's locket from beneath my blazer, clicking it open to reveal a tiny USB drive, including the audio recording from your meeting with Damien last week, the one where you outlined the entire scheme. The megaphone slips from Sienna's fingers, clattering against marble. The sound echoes through suddenly still air. I reach into my pocket and withdraw a single business card, crisp white against my dark sleeve. The logo gleams Jonathan Reed Law Offices. With deliberate slowness, I hold it up for the crowd to see, then let it fall. It lands face up on the podium, a declaration of war in letterhead. The power in the room shifts like a physical current. Where Sienna once commanded attention, she now stands isolated. Damien steps away from her, his phone already at his ear. Even from here I catch fragments. Withdraw immediately. Reputation risk can't be associated. The formal lawsuit will be filed today, I announce. Anyone involved in this conspiracy has 24 hours to come forward voluntarily. After that, I let the silence hang. Heavy with promise, long-standing family members who once wavered now step forward. Uncle Marcus, his voice carrying across the room. This manipulation ends now. Aunt Helen, typically reserved, adds her public denouncement. Each declaration lands like another nail in the coffin of Sienna's scheme. The convention center erupts in controlled chaos. Investors pull out phones. Family members cluster in urgent discussion. But I keep my eyes on Sienna as her carefully constructed world crumbles. Her face drains of color as her most powerful allies, family friends, business partners, even her PR team begin to distance themselves, creating a visible void around her. In the aftermath, I stand alone in the now hushed convention center. My hands move mechanically, gathering evidence files and storing backup drives. Each document represents a piece of my life I've had to fight to protect. The renovation receipts, the permit applications. For years of dreams defended through sheer force of will. The quiet feels heavy, meaningful. I settle into a corner chair, allowing myself a moment to absorb the magnitude of what's just happened. My reflection in the darkened windows shows someone changed harder, perhaps, but unbroken. That's when I see it. Buried beneath the chaos of the past few weeks, a new email catches my eye. The sender, an anonymous corporate whistleblower. The subject line makes my breath catch. Sienna's scheme, just the tip of the iceberg. I stare at the words, my mind racing. The email suggests a pattern of corruption extending far beyond my apartment, beyond Sienna and Damien. A network of real estate fraud that could shake the entire market. The convention center's lights dim, signaling the end of the event. But for me, this feels less like an ending and more like a prelude. I close my tablet, the whistleblower's email burning in my thoughts. Some people say revenge is best served cold, but I've learned it's best served with irrefutable evidence and perfect timing. What do you think is the most satisfying part of seeing a villain brought to justice? Would you ever risk everything to expose the truth? Morning light streams through the expansive windows of my living room, casting long shadows across the restored hardwood floors. I pause in the center of the space, letting my fingers trail along the smooth grain of what I'd spent countless weekends sanding and staining. Each board tells a story not just of renovation but of reclamation. The soft glow catches the brass handles of my grandmother's antique sideboard, now proudly displayed against the exposed brick wall I'd painstakingly restored. My reflection fragments across its polished surface, a woman transformed, standing taller, eyes bright with hard-won wisdom. I move to adjust a frame on the wall of photograph from that fateful night at Langston Convention Center, Sienna's engagement party. The night everything changed. In the image, crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across shocked faces as I stood at the podium, evidence in hand. The memory still bites, but the pain has mellowed into something else, something stronger. Nathan appears in the doorway, his presence a quiet comfort rather than the source of tension it once was. "Coffee's ready," he says, holding out a steaming mug. The easy gesture speaks volumes about how far we've come. He takes in the photograph, his expression thoughtful. Sometimes I still can't believe how it all played out. Neither can I. I accept the coffee, breathing in its rich aroma. But every step led us here. The doorbell chimes and I welcome my guests, the ones who stood by me when everything fell apart. Elsie arrives first, her warm embrace as fierce as ever. Jordan follows, his shoulders still tight with the weight of his own workplace betrayal. Others filter in: friends, family members who chose truth over manipulation, allies who helped expose the corruption that had poisoned my family for so long. We gather in the dining area where laughter and genuine conversation have replaced the hollow pleasantries of the past. Soft jazz plays from the vintage record player, another restoration project that proved more rewarding than expected. The music mingles with the clinking of glasses and honest conversation, creating a symphony of healing. I find Jordan by the window, his gaze distant. "How are you holding up?" I ask, recognizing the look of someone wrestling with betrayal's bitter taste. "Some days are harder than others," he admits. "The legal team says we have a strong case," but he trails off, fingers tapping nervously against his glass. "But you're worried about the personal cost," I finish. "The sleepless nights, the constant second-guessing." I lean against the windowsill, choosing my words carefully. When Sienna first orchestrated my eviction, I thought I'd never trust anyone again. But here's what I learned. Exposing the truth doesn't just protect you, protects everyone they might have hurt next. Jordan's shoulders relax slightly. "How did you stay so focused? Keep fighting when it felt impossible." "I documented everything," I explain. "Every conversation, every email, every suspicious glance. Build your case like you're constructing a house, solid foundation first, then add each piece with purpose." And most importantly, I meet his eyes. "Remember, you're not alone." The gathering continues into early evening, but eventually I find myself alone on the balcony. The sun breaks over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of promise. Below, the city awakens, unaware that its skyline now represents something different, to not a reminder of what I almost lost, but a testament to what I've gained. I pull out my tablet, fingers flying across the screen as I refine my latest project, a community initiative to protect others from similar exploitation. The program will offer legal resources, documentation strategies, and most importantly, a network of support for those facing institutional betrayal. The sunrise bathes my face in warmth as memories flash through my mind. The day I received the eviction notice, the night I discovered Sienna's manipulation, the moment I finally exposed it to everyone at her engagement party. Each memory strengthens my resolve. This apartment, once a battlefield of family loyalty versus justice, now serves as command central for something bigger than myself. I lean against the railing, feeling the solid metal beneath my palms. The city stretches before me, full of stories waiting to be rewritten, wrongs waiting to be righted. My own story has shifted from victim to victor. But it's not the end. It's a beginning of sunrise breaking through the longest night, illuminating the path forward for others who might follow. This is my new purpose, my true renovation project. And this time I'm building something that can never be taken away. How do you think overcoming betrayal can change a person's life? Share your thoughts and any similar experiences in the comments below.